Radio, 2 Hotheads on Cannabis, with your hosts, Steve Epstein.
Not afraid.
And Mike Cann.
You will be. You will.
Radio.com.
Legalize it. Set my stoners free now. Legalize it. Use your freedom of speech and yo, legalize it. When we get it on the ballot, vote to legalize it. What? Legalize it. Legalize it. Set my stoners free now. Legalize it. Use your freedom of speech and yo, legalize it. When we get it on the ballot, vote to legalize it. What? Legalize it.
THC, you're back with 2 Hotheads on Cannabis. Special election review. We got some exciting news about Massachusetts, about what's happening here. We had a big party last night up here at an undisclosed location with the publisher, the associate publisher of High Times, Rick Cusick.
Honestly, he is one of the greatest, not just publishers, but activists ever.
Yeah, he's a great person and speaker and father and publisher. That magazine is kept its level of status and what it is and what it represents. It hasn't gone away. It's only gotten bigger. So
Yep.
Rick's a big part of that. And he's speaking today, while we're on the radio, he's actually speaking over at Emerson College, which is, a block away. We're very excited about that. He's speaking to the students for sensible drug policy.
An amazing speaker. If you have you never seen Rick Cusick speak? He is riveting because he's passionate about the cause.
Yes. And so that's what was happening last night and right now in Boston. And we're excited because today we have some more people that fit that kind of level. Chris Goldstein coming up in a few minutes. Yeah. Chris is going to be talking about medical marijuana, a bill that he helped become law in Massachusetts through the State House, which is almost unheard of today. He actually got some real work done. And the issues that have come since then with putting the Department of Health in New Jersey and a new governor in charge of this, and what issues are they having? He actually just wrote something in Celeb Stoner. If you go to celebstoner.com right now, you can look it up and see the story. And he basically, the title is New Jersey's medical pot regs are a joke. And we will be sure discussing that today with Chris Goldstein. And coming from Chris, Chris is a very respectable, this is not a guy that just throws words like that out without real meaning behind them. When for him to say that, he's working with these state senators and these reps. And if you look at this, one of the state senators, Nicholas Scutari, if I'm saying that right, says the regulations are outside of the law's intent. So he voted for a law, and the state senator, I believe he sponsored the law. Actually, he's saying that the law that he sponsored, these regulations are not part of the law. This is out of bounds. So we're going to be talking to Chris Goldstein about that in a few minutes. I think we will be coming up to 420. Are we going to have our 420 break today, or is that going to happen?
It doesn't seem to want to work.
Oh, my God. I think we missed it. We missed it. Oh, my God.
No.
420. It is now 421. We missed it today.
I was also going to say, Mike, do you miss Steve Epstein? You must be missing him. I mean, there's
who are you
no
talking about?
loud noise or explosions or
you know what? I'm glad.
Red faces.
I think we lucked out this week because all these issues that we're having, something happened in the station that just every single thing that could go wrong went wrong. And if Steve was here, we'd be done. We'd
be freaking out.
Oh my God. So I think we're a little lucky on that this week.
People should know that Steve is really funny. What you hear here when he's gets all hot-headed is threefold, 3 times as intense when the mics go down. Just so folks know. Just telling you.
Truly. We missed the 420. I mean, just that alone. Oh, my God. So we will have Chris coming up, I think, in a few seconds. Have you checked the phone lines, Mike? I know you're trying to fix some other things in the studio that seem to be down. Is that blinking? Do we have a telephone call? All right. We're looking for Chris Goldstein to call. We'll hopefully be back with some music in a few minutes. We're also going to be talking about the big news in Massachusetts, marijuana legalization. The campaign starts.
Let's do something good tonight. Why don't we just stay home all quiet and nice? Forget about the movie, forget about the nightlife. Let's get high. Let's get high.
You are back with THC, two hotheads on cannabis. Our producer Carmelita is shaking her head at us. I think I just made a mistake. Okay. But we do have Chris Goldstein on the phone, and that was the most important thing. So Chris Goldstein is a person at Normal that started the Normal Audio Stash. That the other night I went on there for the Prop 19 celebration, victory, whatever we want to call the results. And there were like 2,000 people listening live, and he started that. And that's just one of the things that he's done. He's done things in New Jersey with medical marijuana, getting a law passed through the State House. He also helped the Philly DA stop arresting people for small amounts of marijuana. So I'm going to bring him on the phone right now. Chris, are you there?
I am here, Mike. It is great to speak with you, man.
Thank you, Chris. You are always busy, but you have time for us, and I want to thank you, first of all, for coming on the show today.
Oh, absolutely. I'd never miss it. You guys do a great show, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you. You just wrote a story entitled New Jersey's Medical Pot Regs Are a Joke in New Jersey, after you passed this law through the State House and worked with, I'm sure, a wide coalition of representatives and state senators and state reps, state assemblymen, as you call them in New Jersey. What is this story about? What's going on now?
Well, here's what happened. So the law passed last year as outgoing Democratic Governor John Goldstein was on his way out, and it was one of the last things he did was to sign this bill into law after it passed votes in the legislature, the Senate, and the Assembly. So they had a timeline set up to implement the law within 6 months. Now we got Governor Christie, and Governor Chris Christie, Republican, sort of making a national name for himself, is kind of like a combination of Karl Rove and Tony Soprano, and that's kind of what we have for a governor here in New Jersey now. He's a former U.S. attorney, kind of a drug warrior, and he said that he didn't like this law, and he said that, he said that straight up in the last couple of months. Now, over the summer, they tried to give a monopoly on production and cultivation to Rutgers University and the New Jersey State Teaching Hospitals. And Mike, you got to understand, New Jersey's law was already the most limited in the country. They call it the most strict, but I see it as the most limited in the country. It's certainly not the way advocates would want it, and that's what happens when a legislature sort of goes and plows ahead here. But you're only allowed 2 ounces per month. They asked for a delay this summer. They wanted to give this monopoly away. We fought the monopoly. We fought the delay, but they gave them another 90 days. The law has to come into effect, full effect, in January of 2011 now. Now, working towards that timeline, the Department of Health and Senior Services issued a set of draft regulations. Now, they took a limited law where there's no home cultivation, 2 ounces per patient per month, and just 6 alternative treatment centers in the whole state to serve all the patients. They took the regulations for that and made it even more limited. Now they're talking about having only 3 strains of medical marijuana in New Jersey.
Why?
All
Why?
less than 10% THC.
Why? That makes no sense.
Why? Right. Well,
you want to help
that's the
people.
tough
Why
thing
would
here.
you immediately limit? Like, it's crazy. You're trying to help people, but you're going to limit it to 3 for no stated reason. What is the reasoning?
Well, there's 2 reasons for this. I mean, if you want to take it, there's 2 big reasons for this. One, it's the drug warrior approach. So they're taking sort of selecting science and cherry their political viewpoint here. looking at NIDA data and that program that runs for those 4 patients, like Irv Rosenfeld, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, marijuana, which is like 4% THC. So they're saying, oh, well, there's this federal program, we're looking at the data from that. But there's also something else going on, which is that there are big businesses in New Jersey that want to control this program. Like, one of the things about New Jersey is that what we don't want is some free market with a bunch of small businesses getting involved with medical marijuana.
Oh, God forbid. God forbid the little guy might actually get something.
Right, exactly. And, especially from this governor who's touted a lot of free market ideals. But, the legislature passed a law, although they saw some problems in other states, and believe me, they used Colorado and California as a whipping post. Not that I see anything wrong with it, but that's what they did. They were like, we don't want to be California, so they made all these restrictions. Now, they're sort of saying that again. We don't want the Wild West of California. That's why we have to limit THC. But it's also a big business giveaway. You're making it easy to make a generic brand of medical marijuana, right? We're making it really easy for a big business to come in and manufacture medical marijuana when you define that as 3 specific strains, all under 10% THC.
Yeah.
They don't have to go out there and do the same kind of thing like a good dispensary does,
No competition, no research, no innovation, just ownage. Yeah.
Right. And look at the advantage here from the hospital associations and the other groups that are looking to control this. I mean, these are regular healthcare groups. Usually when they need to dispense a medication or a therapy to a patient, they have all kinds of middlemen between their profit. They've got insurance companies and they've got pharmaceutical manufacturers. Well, now you've got this thing called medical marijuana, and you can just, throw it out the door. No insurance company, no pharmaceutical company. Just get the raw plant material and sell it to your patients and make all the profit. So this is Jersey style, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but, you guys have all seen those reality shows about New Jersey. They don't even come close to, like, a day in Trenton at the State House, okay?
Oh, yeah. I've been there. Not there, but in Massachusetts even. It truly is like that. I think more people should just go into their state house and go to some of these hearings and talk to the reps. And, it's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, I used to, as you mentioned, I started Normal's Daily Audio Stash, and I worked with National Normal for a long time, sort of on national policy and trying to bring together all the voices around the country into the podcast. But also, too, in the last about 2 years, I've been working super local here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And hanging out in Trenton and Harrisburg, boy, has this been an education. And watching our state governments work up close, especially working through what is a pretty sticky problem, medical marijuana, boy, I'll tell you, it's a real eye-opener. And all these big businesses that lobbied for it in New Jersey that are looking to seek to control medical marijuana and the future of it here in the state, it really is amazing. People talk about the shift from Prop 19, I'm seeing that shift here. I mean, all these hospital associations and stuff. I mean, that's
recently about some California kids that apparently had some drug candy, and they didn't say what drug it was. They immediately pointed to marijuana. But the reality is it could have been X-Lax, and X-Lax probably would have been a bigger concern than a little medical marijuana. That's the truth of it.
Absolutely. I mean,
come on.
If you have somebody with a handful of OxyContin, they're in a lot more, significantly more danger than if they have a handful of pot.
Yes.
So, but that's the thing, they're treating marijuana as if it's that's the thing. That's the weird part for me, Mike, and when you work on medical marijuana advocacy from the angle that you and I get as advocates on the ground at places like the Boston Freedom Rally, where you see real freedom under decriminalization. When you walk into the state legislature, I guess you have to go into the twilight zone.
Yes.
And you have to act like, marijuana is not available. It's a rare, expensive substance that people can't usually get.
Yeah.
And somehow the medical marijuana law is taking something that is already contained and opening the lid on something that's already contained. And that couldn't be further from the truth, is it?
So that's the world.
That's what they act like, though. Marijuana is this dangerous animal it's already in a cage. We've got it contained, and oh gosh, this medical marijuana law is going to open that cage a little bit. But as you know, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we get a chance to say all that before our legislators Monday, and hope that they
so
think
Monday
the same
it is.
thing, and hopefully we'll get a rewrite.
UnregularRadio.com.
UnregularRadio.com.
A 24/7 online stream of everything regular radio doesn't offer. Also, without that wagging finger of corporate or Big Brother, this is Radio Unleashed on UnregularRadio.com.